Here we go. We have another interesting guest on. This is a magician from Cary, North Carolina, a friend of mine that I met at a networking event, Wayne Anderson. How's it going, Wayne? Thanks for coming on.
Thank you for having me, John.
Yes, sir.
It's great.
Yes, sir.
This is going to be a lot of fun, and
Yeah.
it's another beautiful day in paradise, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nice out,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Wayne Anderson, that is such a magician's name, just so you know. Like when I when I heard Wayne Anderson, I was like, he's a magician.
It must be, yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start performing then? When did you get into magic?
There's a really good story behind this. I was a headhunter for most of my life, so I helped companies find executives until I was 55 years old. And I saw a guy do close-up magic, the kind of magic that's really my specialty now, the sleight of hand and stuff that happens here rather than over there on the stage and I slept on it for a couple of months, and I woke up one day and realized that's who I was. I just didn't know that's who I was. And so I started at that moment, after that decision, I started to become a magician. And the rest, as they say, is history. So
Yeah.
that's what happened. I just watched a guy do it and said, that fits me perfectly. That's who I really want to be. So.
Yeah. So is that guy, did he end up being your mentor or?
No, as a matter of fact, he didn't. Mentors are interesting in magic. You know, we have this thing that we take this oath, if you will, that says we don't tell people how things work. But if you're with another magician, we share a lot with other people who are in the magic community. We try not to share with muggles.
So what do you mean by that?
A muggle is somebody who's not, like in Harry Potter, remember that? They called them all muggles, the people who were not special.
To be honest, I never watched Harry Potter.
So anyway, but there are ways to learn magic. If you really want to learn magic, there are ways to learn it. But you won't find me giving out any secrets to people who aren't magicians.
So that's interesting. You say like with magicians, you kind of do share with each other kind of how you do things. Nowadays, when you're watching other magicians, do you get tricked at all? Or like what percentage of the time are you like, oh, I don't know how he did that? What percentage of the time are you like, I kind of knew what he did?
That's a really good question from a muggle. The answer is that if somebody says, did you see that guy do that thing on America's Got Talent? Do you know how he did it? The answer is, I don't have a clue. The answer is always, I don't have a clue. Because if I said, yeah, I know exactly how I did it, isn't that kind of pretentious to think like that? And second of all, and then they say, well, tell me how you did it. And then you can, I can't share that with you, I'd have to kill you. And all that's kind of hokey. But the point is, I always say, I don't have a clue. And most of the time, I do have a clue. Most of the time, I know exactly what's happening and how it's happening. But my answer is always the same. I don't have a clue.
That's cool. So what is your overall definition of magic?
You know, I think there are lots of ways you can look at magic, and you can define it individually depending on your experience with it. But there's a guy named Larry Haas who helps run a school in Vegas with Jeff McBride, and his definition is this. Magic is the artful performance of impossible things that generates energy, delight, and wonder.
Larry
Boy,
Haas.
that's just such a good definition, because we all know that magic's impossible. I mean, you look at it and you say, that's impossible. If you don't say it's impossible, what's the point? It's not really magic, right? And if it generates energy, like it makes people excited, oftentimes it makes people excited, and delight, everybody gets delighted by magic that fools them because people love to be fooled. And then that wonder thing, you know, sometimes I've watched in my performances, older people lose the wonder. Sometimes life beats us down, and it shouldn't, but sometimes we lose that wonder. And I think what magic does is bring that alive again inside people. And I can watch it in a performance. Let's say I'm at a table performing for 6 people at a restaurant, and I can watch this person over here on my left who is like this. Their arms are folded the whole time because they know it's nothing. It's just it's fake. They're not going to be fooled, and they're not going to be delighted and wondered by this whole thing. And then at the end they are, and it's like, it just brings so much joy to me to be able to bring that wonder and delight into their life that was missing before, even for a short period of time, because they remember this for days, sometimes months. So
you think like as we get older, we also lose imagination, kind of wonder and imagination, same thing, and you think you're bringing that back out of people as they get older?
I think some people do.
Yeah.
I think that at a table, I can spot the ones who have kind of withdrawn a little bit and gotten away from wonder. You know, kids are so unconscious of the wonder that exists in their lives. Everything is brand new because they're kids, and so they see a play or a show or a grasshopper, and they're just like, oh, wow. So and as we get adults, we sometimes lose some of that, but magic definitely brings that to the forefront in a performance if you're really good at what you're doing and enjoy it, and people can tell the joy that you carry with it. I think.
So you have seven different types of magic kind of all together. Do you mind going more into depth what those 7 different types are? And you're going to do some of those, kind of show us visually how to perform that. So what are the 7 different types?
Don't you love the homework he's done? Yeah. 7 types of magic. Well, you know, I think one of the things that people see immediately is something disappears. It vanishes.
The curtain and everything. The curtain, when they remove the curtain.
Oh no, yeah. The girl gets in the case.
Okay.
They remove the black curtain and she's gone.
Yeah,
it's like, where does she go? Right. And sometimes, and then the opposite of that is appearance, where you're sitting there looking at nothing, and all of a sudden a guy shows you a quarter, which his hands were just empty, and all of a sudden he's got a quarter in his hand, and you think, where did that come from? Sometimes you can combine those two so they happen at the same time. For example, the girl gets in and I'm not an illusionist. I don't do stage shows. If it doesn't fit in a briefcase, it's not part of my repertoire. So when I go do corporate events, it's with this briefcase or something smaller, or what I have on my clothes with me. But I'm not the guy who has all that furniture and everything. But let's just take this example, because everybody's seen this on America's Got Talent. The girl gets in a clear plastic case. She's in there. They lock her up. They put a black cloth over the cage. They count to 3, some number. They pull it off, and there's a tiger in the cage. And so that's a transformation. She disappeared, something appeared at the same time, and it's like, whoa, because where did the tiger come from? Where did she go? And that's one of those transformations. Another one that people love is levitation. People love to see things float.
Yeah.
Oh, they do.
David Blaine was huge on this, right?
David Blaine did some great street magic with levitation, and you'll see levitation gets people's reactions really high. Another one is penetrations. For example, a guy might take a ring and put it on a rope, and it's obviously on the rope. You feel it on the rope. He puts a cloth over it maybe, and then he takes it back off and the ring is off the rope, and you're thinking, no, because the ends are here. And you think, how is that possible? And then you check the ring out and it's a solid ring, solid rope, and you wonder, how in the world? That's another one. Another one is mind reading. Mind reading, this is interesting, John. Mentalism and magic are 2 separate things that I think are the same. But mentalists don't want you to think they're the same.
Why is that?
Well, because if you do mentalism and you add magic to the same presentation, people say, oh, the mentalism was a trick. He really can't read minds. Duh.
You don't say.
Yeah, really. So mentalists don't want people to think that they can't read minds. They want people to think they really can read minds, and so they don't want to add magic in the same presentation. I just think that the whole genre of this magic, mentalism, the way we look at wonder and delight, which all these things cause, is the same. So I'm not afraid to use this as opposed to sleight of hand, which most people think of close-up magic as sleight of hand. It may not be. I'm not saying it isn't, but it may not be. It may be real magic. And mentalism may be real magic. Where's the line drawn? Who knows? And who can tell? And then the last one is restoration. Restorations are interesting because something gets, like a newspaper gets torn into pieces and pieces and pieces, and all of a sudden a guy opens it back up again and it's whole again. and you wonder where the pieces go and where did the whole newspaper come from. And that's that same thing with
Yeah.
the tiger and the girl in the cage. So
It's interesting. It's like way more complex from when you break it down. It's way more complex than it's just magic. It's just one big category. That's cool. And you want to try? You want to try mind reading right now? Then you want to try that?
can we?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
With you?
Yeah, let's do it with me.
John, this will be so much fun. Listen,
I'm scared. I'm scared to be honest.
Knowing I was going to be here today, I made a prediction. I put one card in this deck of cards that's different. There's a joker in here, but there's also a card that's different than all the other cards.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to lay it on the table. Now, you can tell it's wrapped up in rubber bands so that there's nothing you or I can do about the outcome, right?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever's meant to be is meant to be. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I invented this. This is the world famous imaginary deck of cards by Wayne Anderson. Would you shuffle them for us?
Yeah. I'm gonna do a grandma shuffle though.
I
I'm not
love
good at
that. I
shuffling.
love it. You know, they do that in Vegas. They do this thing. In Vegas.
All right,
No,
they're all
that's
together.
enough. Now,
No?
before you give them back, if I'm a good enough magician, John, I could reach into your hands, even though you've shuffled the cards, and I could take out all the black cards. Well, let me ask you this. Wait, think about this. If what you do to that deck of cards matches what I've already done to this deck of cards, would that be magic or would it be destiny? I know. And if what you do matches what I've already done, did you ever really have a choice or is it fate? I know. Want to find out?
Let's do it.
If I'm a good enough magician, I can reach into your hands, even though you just shuffled the cards, and I can take out all the black cards, or I could take out all the red cards. Even though they're shuffled, I could just reach in and grab the black ones or the red ones. It's your choice. We don't care. You get to decide.
Let's get rid of the reds and keep the blacks.
Okay. So you want to give me the reds, or
Yes,
do you want
sir.
to give me the blacks?
I want to give you the reds. I want to keep the blacks.
I've got them. I've got the reds. Throw the black ones over your shoulder. Now you're going to throw away everything but one.
Okay.
Okay? We've still got hearts and diamonds. Unless you want to change your mind. You want to give me the blacks instead of the reds?
See, he's doing something here.
You're okay with it.
Yeah.
I can tell
Okay,
you.
okay,
So
perfect.
we got hearts and diamonds.
Uh-huh.
What's next? Hearts or diamonds?
You have hearts and diamonds? Get
Yeah,
rid of
hearts
one
and
of them?
diamonds.
Okay.
What's next? Hearts or diamonds?
Let's get rid of hearts.
So you want me to keep the diamonds, you want to throw the hearts over your shoulder?
Yes, sir.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
Okay, here they are.
Those the hearts? Over my shoulder? There we go.
13 diamonds. Let's speed it up a little bit. There are high diamonds and low diamonds.
Mm-hmm.
When I snap my fingers, all you've got to say is high or low.
Low.
Throw them away.
Throwing away the lows?
Yeah. You said lows.
Yes, sir.
You can change your mind.
No.
Okay. All right. So you left me with the 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King of Diamonds. 6 cards.
Mm-hmm.
Pick the one that you want to keep. Now remember, all this is predicated upon you choosing the same card that's in that deck of cards that's been on the table the whole time. So you got down to 6 diamonds. Maybe you're right. Maybe you're not. What if you are?
That'd be wild.
Would that be fate or would it be destiny? We'll find out in a second.
We'll find out.
So there's 6 cards. Which one do you want to keep? Now, this is not some kind of choice thing. You just get to choose a card that you want to keep.
Mm-hmm.
Which one is it?
Keep it in my mind?
No, just say it.
10 of diamonds.
The 10 of diamonds. Now, because I made a prediction, it's been on the table the whole time, it's okay if you change your mind. It's okay if you don't. But there are still 6 cards here. Is the 10 the only one that you want to keep? Or do you want to change your mind?
I like 10.
You don't need to phone a friend?
Mm-mm.
Is that your final answer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You can change your mind if you want to.
No, we'll keep it 10. 10 of
The
diamonds.
10 of diamonds.
Yep, that's gold right
All
there.
right, throw away the rest.
Throw away the rest. We're making a mess back here, man.
Well, here's what happened, John. If you'd made a different decision anywhere along the way, we would have had a club, a heart, or a spade.
Mm-hmm.
But we ended up with diamonds. Was that my choice or yours?
That was mine.
Totally, right? Because I was just watching. And you could have changed your mind, right? We talked about hearts. And you could have changed your mind anywhere along the way, but you decided not to. And when you got to diamonds, you chose the 10. And you left all of your lifelines on the table. So in my feeble little mind, it looked like you chose the 10 of diamonds.
I believe I did.
Is that what happened?
I believe so.
Or did the 10 of diamonds choose you?
That was fate. Ooh.
If it's fate, you really didn't have a choice, although it looked like choices, didn't
Yeah.
it?
What does that mean about me? 10 of diamonds. What does that mean?
Let's find out if you're even right. Look,
Okay.
this isn't sleight of hand, obviously. because we're on live camera right here. Let's see what happens if there's anything unusual. There's a joker on top. I told you there's a joker, but I don't think we need that.
No,
Let's see if there's anything here. Nothing. 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 Except there's a card in the middle upside down. It's a 10 of
Man,
diamonds.
it's no fair. It's no fair.
Now, that's interesting. If this was fate, you really didn't have a choice. Although at the time, you felt like it was all your decision, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
And I wasn't leading you, was I?
No.
No. You know what you did? You chose the only blue-backed card in a red-backed deck. You know what's crazy about that? These aren't the only cards. You threw away all the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the only card left. Because all the others are on the floor behind you. Don't look.
Don't look.
But that explains why all of these are just blank cards. Yeah, John, look, I'm just going to, look, they're not stuck together. They're not stuck together. Look, I'm just going to show you. They're just blank cards all the way through the deck. They're just blank cards. There's no snap, there's no double stuck. It's just blank cards all the way through the deck.
He's a
except
mind
for
reader.
one blue back 10 of diamonds. And that usually gets the most applause.
There we go. Our videographer, yeah, go ahead, clap.
Is that crazy or what?
Our videographer, Perry, was like, I'm not going to be able to stay quiet this whole time. I'm just freaking out over there. That's crazy.
Well,
so you just read my mind.
Well,
I feel violated.
I know, really, I know. Or did I plant that thought in your mind and you don't even know that I did it? Because honestly, you had a free choice from beginning to end. And it was on the table the whole time.
So that's mind reading right there.
That is mind reading right there. And I can't really tell you how I knew before I walked in the studio that you were going to choose that card, but there it is.
You seen the movie Focus with Will Smith and Margot Robbie?
Say it again. Will Smith.
Focus, the movie.
Focus. Okay. Oh, the movie. Yeah.
You've seen it?
No, I haven't seen it.
Okay, I'm gonna give you some homework. Watch Focus.
Watch Focus. Was it really good?
This is all like.
This is all. This is yeah.
And you've probably seen the other one. What's the huge magician one that has been coming out like crazy? What is the name of it? Now You See Me.
Now You See Me.
Yeah, you've seen that?
That was really good.
That was a good
I
one.
love that. Yeah. You know, some people, you see some types of magic on TV, and it's not really real. It's not really real in the sense that what they're doing is they're saying, I bet if you did this, 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 and this, it would give you that outcome. And they're just making up stuff. But Now You See Me was a good example of how they really used magic to make things happen.
Yeah. And how they use Hollywood to make things happen.
Hollywood too. That was good. I can't believe you did that. That was great. So what else you got?
I got another question. This one's interesting because I use YouTube as a major platform for myself. Do you think YouTube has destroyed magic, or you think it's made it better? Think it's made more magicians come to life? What do you think about YouTube?
You know, if you want to know how a trick works, you can probably go to YouTube and find out most of them. You won't find this one on there, will you? Because this was real stuff right here. I mean, it was on the table the whole time. But if you want to see some sleight of hand, you can go there, and some people will show you some card tricks and stuff. And but most people don't want to know how magic works. As soon as you know how a card trick works, there's no magic anymore, is there? It takes all the wonder out of it. So most people don't go there and learn. Does YouTube help magic or hurt magic? I think it's a great way to help magic. What's happened is that it's brought magic to the forefront of people's mind, and they go there and maybe look at it and they say, oh, I want to see some more magic. I want to see some other guys do magic. And so I think YouTube has helped magic. I don't think it's destroyed magic at all, although it's giving away the secret. I think really what it does is it helps bring magic to the forefront of people's minds. And I've seen it. You've watched it grow in the last 10 years since David Blaine. Can we talk about David Blaine for a second?
David Blaine, yeah.
David Blaine brought a new type of magic to the world. Before David Blaine, you saw Houdini and a million other guys, Blackstone and everybody, did stage performances. And they did things on stage that were up there and you couldn't see it here. But when it happens right here in front of you, it changes everything. And what David Blaine did was bring close-up magic to the forefront. Most close-up magic is done in front of a few people. When I do parlor shows for corporations, I might have 20 or 30 adults in a room, and I play with their minds for half an hour or an hour, and that's close-up magic because we're right there together. Or when I'm performing at a restaurant and there's a table, I'm doing stuff in front of them, and they say, oh, okay, But when you bring it to the masses and you get a TV show where 1 million people watch that close-up magic, now all of a sudden people say, new genre. Well, it's been there forever, but he just kind of made it famous. It really popped, if you will, and all of a sudden people know David Blaine's name.
David Blaine. He does a lot of with celebrities.
He does. Well, I mean, if you're famous and rich, yeah, people want to. Yeah, so close-up's interesting, isn't it? These two rubber bands are not linked together, are they? See?
Nope.
But when you put one on the other side of the other one, because they're on opposite sides, they don't come apart. You agree? And they don't come off your fingers or thumbs because they're on opposite sides. You can't pull them apart because they're on opposite sides. But when you blow in the middle like this, they just melt through each other. I'm just saying. So
I'm just saying. I love it.
So David Blaine changed it because he brought it to the masses, and I love close-up magic because this is magic that's not hidden behind a curtain, not hidden with ropes hanging from the ceiling that you can't see. It's magic that happens with people's sleeves rolled up and performed in front of everybody, and theoretically it's sleight of hand, or maybe it's just magic. Want to find out?
Or destiny, or fate.
Could be.
Let's find out.
Can we get Perry to help us?
What's the next one we're doing? What's the next topic we're going to do?
We've been through the topics, but let's do something that kind of combines a lot of them.
Okay.
Would that be good?
Yeah. So Perry, you wanna do it?
Perry will help me.
Perry's
Perry, come on over here.
I'm gonna check the camera angle, and then I'll come back and kind of commentate. But let me check the camera angle real quick.
All right. Stand right here. Okay. And kind of stand beside me right here. That's good. And he'll edit all this out. We'll be good. So
I'll commentate here.
Yeah, this is good. Now, Perry, they know you. They don't know you're the videographer, but you're part of this every time. But I thought when I saw you, I walked in the room and you were working on the cameras. I realized you might be a magician too.
Yes.
I know. Let's find out if you are. Let me borrow your hand.
Okay.
Now, if you're a magician, you're also a scientist, aren't you? Say yes.
Yes.
And if you're a scientist and a magician, you know that if this doesn't come apart and if there's nothing inside of it, it's just one. Would you agree?
Yes.
Would you make sure it's just one? Camera, notice this. My sleeves are rolled up. My hands are empty because that's how I roll. But before Perry rode a bike, she didn't know she could ride a bike. The logic's perfect. If Perry's never been exposed to magic, couldn't she be a magician and not even know it? Perry, is it just one?
Yes.
Would you squeeze it in the palm of your hand really tight?
Yes.
And when I snap my fingers, can you turn it into two?
Yes.
Oh, that's so good. That is so good. Now, I know.
Perry's a magician.
Now, a lot of times people think I'm involved because I'm a magician too, but y'all notice from the beginning my sleeves are rolled up, my hands are empty because that's how I roll. I'll leave that one right there. Perry, you ready? Really slow. I'll put this one really slow right here in my hand. You squeeze this one in yours.
Okay.
I've got one. I'll leave it on the table. You've got one, unless you know how to turn that one into two.
Yeah.
She got three.
You're so good. She's got two. That is so good. You're like a natural. Now don't hide your hand. They'll think you're cheating.
Okay.
And later on, when John asks you how you did this, just say, I don't know.
I don't know.
Because we never reveal our secret.
No.
Say it again. I don't know.
I don't know.
An actress and a magician. I love this. So let's do it again. Look, we'll do it again. I'll put really slow because even the camera missed these first two. I'll go really slow. Look, I'll put both these right here. Squeeze this one as tight as you can.
Okay.
See my two? When they start moving, it's weird. But when they disappear from here and don't make it to, no, go and show them. Oh, you got all three of them. That's so good. One more time, all three. 1, 2, 3. Perry,
Yes.
What's the next number?
4.
Only a magician would even know that's possible. Here's how you do it. Channel your inner Hermione Granger and turn it into, you said a 4. I know John and I believe in you. Turn it into a 4.
Okay. 4.
Show the camera. Oh, that's so good. That's so good. Turn around really good. See, there's the camera. Yay.
Good job.
Give her a hand. That was so good.
Perry needs to be That was lit. That's crazy.
Can she do one more?
You want to do another? Are you guys ready right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Ready. So
Perry's all about it.
Perry, I want you to make sure these are real ropes. Make sure they don't stretch. Make sure they don't come apart. Make sure they're no magnets. Just make sure they're real ropes. And I'll tell you, this reminds me of a story that most of us learned as kids. That one of the porridges was too hot, one was too cold, and one was
Just right?
yeah, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So if Goldilocks had been a magician, this is my expectation. She would have found a way to make all the porridge just right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Let me hear you snap your fingers. That's it. Now do it right on top of the short rope right there. Perfect, because that's all it takes to make these 3 equal lengths of rope.
Oh.
Yeah, there's 1 medium length of rope, there's 2 medium lengths of rope, there's 3 medium lengths of rope. Ta-da.
Ta-da!
Now, can you turn them back and unsnap your fingers? No, that's a snap. That's a backward snap. Can you unsnap them?
How do you unsnap
Like,
fingers?
like that.
Oh!
Yeah. Do it on top of the rope. Oh, that's perfect because that turns this into a short one, and this is a medium one. And when I blow on this one, it becomes a long one.
That's cool!
Yay!
That's Perry's first time on camera. Go Perry.
I like your enthusiasm. That was fun. So here we are. We're back again.
We're back to being being normal people.
Normal people. So what were some more questions, John? Because this is fun stuff right here.
I have a question. I don't want to hurt your feelings with this one. You've ever flopped on stage?
Yeah. On stage meaning at a
Just
table
performing.
or in a parlor situation or even on stage. Because I do stage magic, but I usually do it in a like I said in this briefcase thing rather than with all that furniture that you might have to pack away. And yeah, sometimes things don't go as well as they should. Here's the advantage. You don't know what's supposed to happen. So when it doesn't happen, you're not sure that it did or didn't. So sometimes you can get away with things that don't happen like they should. But that's why you practice and practice and practice. That's why you work and work and work at your talent, because you could be a painter and draw a horrible portrait.
That's true.
Right? And it should be a better portrait, and it's not. And you just have to go back and work on it and work on it and work on it until you get it right. If somebody saw that intermediate stage, they would say, "What a horrible portrait." But then again, if somebody saw me do something crazy because I hadn't really practiced, they might say, "I'm not really fooled by that."
Now, have you done magic your whole life, or were you in a career job before this, or?
No, that's a really good question. I was a headhunter for.
Oh, that's what you said.
Yeah, I was a headhunter for a long time. Didn't we talk about that earlier?
Yeah. So we'll skip that.
And then I found magic, and now I became a magician. So, that was a few years ago, and it seems like this fits me about as well as anything I've ever done. I had the pieces already in place. It wasn't like I had to figure it all out. Like when 12-year-old boys discover magic, they're still 12-year-old boys. So they can't really relate to adults like I can or have most of my life dealing with executives. And they have to overcome shyness, and they have to overcome, all these other things that they have going on with them. And I didn't have any of that. I walked into it and I was almost there. So it didn't mean I knew everything, but it just meant I was way ahead of the curve.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
You have a comedic sense about you, especially when I met you the first time. I loved how your act with magic wasn't just magic. You added your own personality and comedy into it. How influential do you think comedy has been on magic?
I think that it depends on the guy. You've never seen David Blaine smile, so his style is not comedy magic. He just swallows frogs and regurgitates them. Who knows? But and sews his lips. I saw him sew his lips together in Charlotte.
You saw it live?
Saw it live.
Oh no!
He sewed his lips together literally.
That's nasty.
I know. And a girl comes and cuts the thread, and she was like all squeamish and everything. I don't blame her. I mean, I'd be squeamish too to cut the thread on somebody's lips. And then inside was the half of the card that she had signed earlier. After he'd sewed his lips together, she signed a card, and it turned out in his mouth inside the sewed up lips. Weird stuff. So, but I think my style is I've always enjoyed being funny. And, you can carry funny too far. Comedians can sometimes, like Rodney Dangerfield, went over the edge a lot of times. But comedy can be a great adjunct to magic, and I try to make it. I don't do magic unless it's funny. I mean, I just have fun all the time, and I think magic should be fun. I think it's one of those things that brings joy to people. So why not make it fun? When you see some people perform who are not funny, it's almost like a scary thing sometimes rather than a fun, enjoyable thing. And people are like, ooh, he stuck a needle through his arm.
It just becomes disgusting.
It becomes something different than something fun to be with. And people are hiding their eyes like this.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people at David Blaine who were hiding their eyes when he's sewing his lips together. They just couldn't watch. They just couldn't do it. And that's not my style of magic.
Yeah, so you get, you obviously do magic in front of people, in front of cameras and stuff. You get invited to events to do magic. Now, do you really tailor your magic towards your audience? You make sure, like, if it's a birthday party, it's going to be a little bit different magic than if it was a family reunion with a different generation. Do you tailor your magic tricks to different audiences?
I think it's something. One of the skills I have, and it's a really good question, John. Is somebody says, "Look, I did a magic show for an insurance company I won't name, and they wanted me to present their 10 goals for the year." And so I turned their 10 goals for the year into 10 magic tricks that basically elaborated on the goal and described it and presented it in a magical format so that it would be remembered for a long time. So I think that's one of the things I love doing, is taking somebody's goals, sales goals or whatever it might be, or maybe the 3 things that they're working on this year, the three major points of interest this year for a company, and turning them into magic. So yeah, sometimes you can do that. Sometimes you just get out and do the same things.
Yeah, exactly. The first time I met you was obviously at a networking event, and you did this one magic trick with a fork, and I see you have a fork in your suit jacket.
I just happen to have some forks.
You just happens to have some forks. You weren't hungry or anything. You just
it's like. Yeah, I do. Would you like to see that?
I would love to see that again.
I think the camera.
This was my favorite. This is my favorite match.
Okay, let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do it.
I need
Perry, you want to get in this one? Or you want me to do this?
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
You don't
Yeah,
need
do
to do
something.
anything. All I need to do is just need that.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, just so that you can hear me really clearly, I'm pretty sure. And I'm performing for Perry and John, but I'm going to kind of look at the camera so you guys can see that there's nothing going on here, that this is just a regular fork. As a matter of fact, John, would you check it out and make sure there are no trapdoors or hinges?
Yes, sir.
Real fork.
This is a real fork.
It is a real fork. My friends tell me that you can't do this. They tell me you cannot line up the molecules in a fork, especially a stainless steel fork, with your bare hands, but John, what do I know? I'm just a magician. So this is what a fork looks like when it's straight. It's really not straight at all, is it? It's kind of J-Lo-ish, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's a new word I made up. But now that the molecules are lined up, that hand's empty, and that hand's empty. So let me turn so you can see this, because honestly, when you gave it to me,
He's performing science.
it just didn't look anything like this, did it? I know. You can watch it bend if you focus right here or here or here. You can watch the bend take place. It's almost bent in two. John, let me unfold this for you. My arm's going to move. My fingers aren't, but right about there, you can see it.
Oh,
The
yeah.
end of the fork starts to move. That's crazy. But when my arm stops and the fork keeps going, that's insane, because it ends up with a twist
You
right in the
twisted
middle
it.
of it. It's a twisted fork. I know. It's a restaurant. Can you read what that says right there? It says Daily Chef. Can you see that?
Daily Chef.
That would make this probably
Oh, there you go.
impossible. Can you push that back like it was?
Yes, sir.
It might not be easy. You can do it. Push hard. Go on. You can do it. Push hard. Push hard. Here's what happened. You changed it from a weapon into a souvenir, because it would have killed you if you'd eaten with it like that. I'm going to sign it so that when Penn and Teller find me, you guys can say, we know Wayne. He was on John's podcast way back when. Here's a souvenir for you.
Wayne Anderson.
Wayne Anderson, don't leave this in the building. The dishwasher hates me.
Yes, I love to have stuff like this to keep for my podcast. That's perfect. All right, well, that, that we'll end it on a good note, as they say, right? We appreciate you coming on so much, and we'll have to invite you to some more events, and I hope to see you at another event soon, a networking event or something like that. So thank you so much, Wayne Anderson. Glad to have you.
Thank you, John. I hope our paths cross again soon.
Yes, sir.
It's whatever. Feeling good, living better. I think maybe I was numb to it last year, but I feel it now more than ever. My city love me like Mac Dre in the Bay. Second album, I'm back paving the way. The backpackers are back on the bandwagon like this was my comeback season back in the day. And I met your baby moms last night. We took a picture together.